As an early retiree, I thought I had my budget and my finances all figured out, but my November and December budget have been an absolute fail. I overspent in November by $566.32. And it was mostly due to Thanksgiving, but I even overspent this month in December as well. I know that these numbers are absolutely terrifying, but in this video, I'll show you exactly where the money went and what my plans are in order to get back on track for the rest of this month, December. I'll also show you how this overspending has affected my 2026 budget, along with some updates I've made to my 2026 budget. So here's a quick look at my spending for November. Here's the total amount I spent on Thanksgiving. So everything highlighted in orange are what I would say the consumables related to Thanksgiving, the groceries, most of which are gone. Can't reuse them. What's in yellow is indirect things that I bought for Thanksgiving, such as, a pillow and command hooks. These things can be used again, so they become household items. That's why I've listed them as incidentals, even though they were bought for, hosting. I can use them again in the future, not just for Thanksgiving. Let me stop for a moment to say welcome and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Aja. I retired at the age of 49 in 2022, and I relocated to the more affordable Delaware last year in 2024. I have no significant savings, which is why a big part of my early retirement journey is to keep a very careful budget and keep very close track of my spending. So now that we've taken a look at what I've overspent in November, let's see how I've also overspent quite a bit in December. All right, so here's my December budget so far. One of my kids and my kid-in-law just bought their first house. So I had to be there last weekend along with the other set of parents to help support our kids in their move. But along with that came a lot of expenses. First of all, gas. Just getting to the location costs a lot. This is an easy pass um, charge. The tolls didn't cost that much, but easy pass just debits that amount from my account. And so yeah, also just moving back and forth between the old place and the new house costs even more gas. And I also we took turns providing meals for the family. So I uh, purchased a breakfast of bagels, and then I also provided a pizza dinner. Then there was other little spending that I did, sandwiches, candy bars, a little bit of eating out, um, being on the go. And what was this? I don't remember what that was. Oh yeah, that was just eating out from at Whole Foods. Um, this wasn't. This was actually the Christmas gift that shouldn't be highlighted. One of the Christmas gifts I had to buy. So yeah, and then there were some other charges that I didn't think about, such as my PBS account. That's the only TV or like streaming service that I actually pay for, and I share it with my family. But everything else, my Netflix, well, Netflix I do pay for, but it comes through my phone bill, so I don't pay directly for that. So I share my Netflix and PBS with other family members, and then they share things like Hulu and Amazon Plus with me and Disney. So yeah, I had to renew PBS, and I also had to renew my auto registration. So that's $100 right there that I didn't account for December. But on a positive note, so I did overspend by $145.37 this month. But on a positive note, I probably won't spend the rest of this food budget, and I still have a lot of Thanksgiving leftovers in my freezer, as well as a bunch of other stuff in my freezer. If you watched my video about what's in my freezer, you know I have plenty stocked up in my freezer and my pantry that I can make for most of my meals for the rest of this month. Now, my other kid plans to come spend time with me during Christmas and New Year's. Hopefully, we'll just stay home and watch Hallmark movies. We do want to go to see the Stranger Things finale. So that's one big cost. But other than that, there are no major plans for spending for the rest of December. So let's look at my December budget. All right, so here's how it's looking so far. These are the amounts in my two checking accounts, and whatever is paid off is checked off in this column E here. So most of my bills are paid off for December. Everything else is accounted for. And as you can see, my balance is negative for December, even though I took an additional $200 out of my, no, 300 actually. I took 300 out of my long-term savings, my high yield savings account, and put it in here to account for some things. Um, and there were already plans, there's holiday spending for gifts, and I have to buy a plane ticket for an upcoming wedding, a destination wedding. I talked about some of these additional expenses last time, but I'll show you real quick. They are in this spreadsheet, the bill averages. So I found an error here, by the way. I found a couple of errors. So if things look different on these sheets, it's because I made changes since the last time we talked. But here, my fall, winter, holiday spending. So Thanksgiving groceries, I had to send some money over to my account for that. The Christmas gifts, and then traveling and socializing for the month of December, a plane ticket, and a wedding gift. So between now and January, I will be transferring a total of $1,000 from my high yield checking account. And so I have transferred $300 so far. And even with that, and with the, even with by transferring that and this $200 that I expect from Alliance for the incentive of opening the checking accounts, is still a negative balance. However, like I mentioned before, I don't think I'm going to spend this entire food budget for the rest of December. Today is December 14th, so we're about halfway through the month. And what I think I can do is just, use what I have in the pantry. I have the basics: milk, eggs, chicken, bacon and sausage, fish, oatmeal, applesauce, cheese, quick breads, popcorn, bottled water. I should be fine without buying anything extra, except when my kid comes. Then I would want to buy some groceries so that we can make some nice meals, some extra meats and things so we can make some nice fresh meals together. So if I temporarily delete this amount, then the balance becomes positive. And this is the amount that I can spend $75.48. I can spend up to that amount on groceries for the week or two that my kid is here, and that should be enough. But yeah, let's take a look now at how my overspending has affected my financial goals for 2026. It's not pretty. Let's go over to my projections for May 2026 and look at my long-term savings. So thankfully, I'm still on track to save for my emergency fund by May of 2026. But the amount of additional savings has drastically decreased. The last time I showed this spreadsheet, this amount was over $700. And my plan for that at that time was to make additional principal payments on my mortgage. But now that amount has decreased drastically. And speaking of my savings, the additional savings, last time I also talked about some long-term saving goals. At the time, I was just talking about adding bathrooms, expanding my deck, redoing my kitchen counters and floors. Well, now my long-term goals have shifted drastically. Now I'm focusing on paying off my student loans, self-funding a long-term care fund, and paying off my mortgage, and possibly, if possible, investing in real estate before I would ever consider renovating this house, because the house is good. It might not be my dream house, but it is very, very close to it. And I don't need all of that additional stuff. And like I mentioned before, that might even increase my tax amount. So instead of making a principal payment on my mortgage with this amount, I might just hold on to this until I speak with an attorney. And there's also a possibility of me going over my retirement budget with a nonprofit credit counselor for free. So I read about that option in a personal finance book. I'm currently in the process of setting that up. Now, over here in yellow are all the things that have changed, all the amounts that have changed since 2025. So this is my 2026 budget. These things are now going to be mostly more. My income is the only thing that will be less, and that's not good, but that's due to my health insurance increasing the premium. Now, I don't know what the exact amount will be. It could be around over 28 by over 28%. So a 28% increase in my health insurance, which gets taken out automatically from my monthly pension amount. So here's what it was before. This was the prior monthly pension amount. And here again is the new amount. My mortgage has increased. And instead of going back and forth, I'll just say it's going up. My mortgage payment is going up by $37.07 due to inflation. Taxes and insurance have increased, and due to the escrow deficit. Student loans, that's interesting. I just applied for an update to my income driven repayment plan for my federal student loans. We'll see the outcome. Right now, this number represents my payment based on the salary that I made when I was a program manager for 1 year after I retired. So this amount should definitely be lower than this, but this amount is only for one of the two loans. I have a total of two loans. One is about 10K and one is 5K. The 5K loan is a Parent Plus loan. And so it's been in deferment for a few years while my kid is in grad school. But once they graduate in 2026, that will I will have a 6-month grace period, but interest will be accruing during that time. So I have a decision to make about that, whether I should just pay it off. It's only 5K. So if I have money saved, if I have enough money saved, maybe put everything, all my effort toward that. Any extra income or additional savings could go toward the student loan and just try to get that paid off. So this is the amount that would come from. But another option is to consolidate the Parent Plus loan. I'm not sure if that would be a good idea because then I might not qualify for the income driven repayment plan. Let me know in the comments if you have suggestions about what to do with this student loan, this Parent Plus loan. I am interested in figuring out. I have to do my research too. The Ring payment. So for a year, I had Ring for free due to actually it was 2 6-month incentives. And so the first one was until April. Then I convinced them to continue it until December. So I have to start paying $19.99 per month beginning in January. Now, the food balance has not increased. That is the same amount that I had budgeted for myself, my food allowance, $400. The reason I highlighted it though is because this amount, along with the 150, which I increased my spending and incidentals allowance by $50, these two amounts are the most they are variable expenses that I have, and they are the ones that I can use the most to control my budget. So if I overspend in one month, then in the following month, I can decrease the amount of spending I do in these areas, food and spending and incidentals. I can completely cut out eating out and frivolous spending. I can definitely do that. And then as far as food, like I just explained my plan for the rest of December, I can just, like go with what's in my pantry. It might not be my favorite meals. It might not be the best meals. I might have to kind of, rough it for a while, but I can definitely control my spending in these two categories. I also increased my car amount per month, and I probably will be spending more on not just gas, but maintenance for the car too. But I think this budget overall is very aggressive in the sense that I've put the highest possible amounts. So even though it might be scary to see that I'll only be left with $8.54, I think that it's completely doable for me to manage my budget with these two amounts by adjusting these two amounts as needed. And it's not surprising that the total left after paying bills would be this amount when you take into consideration the all of the issues of inflation and the new bill that I have to pay and the increases that I gave myself in my allowances. Now, last year with the amount, and let me just show that too, the amount that I had left over each month last year was this. That amount I just kind of spent, on moving costs, buying furniture and supplies to make myself comfortable in my new house. I don't plan to spend so much on those types of incidentals or spending this year. Instead, I will take that amount and just add it to my high yield savings account and it will contribute to this amount. So, are you planning for an early retirement or are you already retired like me? What's your 2026 budget looking like? Comment below. I'd love for you to share. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to continue following my early retirement journey as it unfolds. Please share this video with anyone you know who also might find it useful. Thank you, stay inspired, and keep thriving.